What's going on, traders? Are you guys ready to be right back into the swing trading action? I know I'm excited. I had a killer day today. Got to talk all about the swing trades from just Thursday. Yeah, I know Thursday seems like a long time ago, but stay tuned, team. We got a great show for you today. Start swing trading, where we talk about the swing trading setups. Of course, take a look at the action in the market. Look where the rotation's going. What was hot? What was not? And of course, try to get to some trading setups from some guests. Don't have a guest today, but I got some good news. I did talk to Edwin Dorsey, so we will be having him on Wednesday. We'll take a look, of course, to his short report on Airbnb. That's for Wednesday's short, just a little bit of a sneak preview at what's coming up. Let's get into the market today. Let's take a look at the SPY action right now. We're getting a little bit of a lift. As you guys can see, we're up there towards 409. And this morning, we just came off of these levels. This is how this market is trading. Chop, chop, chop. It continues, team. When you think you got it right, you probably don't. And when you don't got it right, you might have it. Who knows? Right now in this market, it's a little bit of a swing up, a swing down, a swing up, a swing down, especially when it comes to technology stocks. Let's talk a little bit about the trades that I was able to close today for a major gain. Super excited about that. But there was also some trades that I did take during the day that did cut me out. And we'll talk all a bit about those also. Time to catch up with the chat. How we doing out there? Smash the like. It's good to see you guys out there. Nick Brown, what's up out you? How we doing, Nick? You want to come back on the show? You let me know. Crow is in the house. You guys know the Crow, always checking out those smaller plays, nailing it. He's the beast out there. And definitely Raz is in the house. How we doing? Easy Mike. What's going on out there? Walter, Raz, Hammer. You know where you're at. Money Mitch, of course. Dano. How's everybody doing on GFAI into the green? That was a tough one. Yeah, it was. We'll take a look at those AI stocks and some of those that ran today. And even if you guys got the smaller plays, we'll jump into them. We don't shy away here on Start Swing Trading. Let's get to the action, of course. All right, let's go. Let's get into the trades that I was able to close into the green today. And then we'll be looking for some trades maybe here towards the close. I will let you guys know I have nothing on at this moment. Yes, I know sometimes I come in this show, I got a couple of trades on. Sometimes I take shows during the show. Well, today, no trades on after taking some profit on some trades. Let's get into the action. Let's talk all about those trades. Of course, we had Tesla. Can't be mad at Tesla. We're having a really nice win on Tesla after trading this on Thursday, where we got this into the 85.34, was able to sell some on the first swing on Tesla. We took a lot, 60% of it at 178.02. So that was down here and close towards the low of the day. It did get down there to like 176, but not mad at all, taking some opening action on Tesla. That's an overnight over 4% trade for us. We cannot be mad at that at all. Yes, I didn't get the top shares on Tesla, as of course we didn't get the 176. We did get the rest of it out though as it was starting to come up. We got that out at 180.13. So as it started coming back through this 180 spot, wanted to make sure that we paid ourselves, because you can't be mad about that, right? Towards that 180, it was about 2.27%. So really not mad at all. Big trade for us in Tesla. And I could go after it again. You see it up there. This is kind of a real V bottom outlook. This could reject this line and get right back down there. So that's what we got to determine. Are we going to continue riding, or are we going to crack right back down here in Tesla? I could get right back into the name, really close to where I got it in the first place. Remember, I got it in the 185.30s. We didn't get up to there today, but we're close. We'll see what happens on this one. Definitely a really nice trade overnight on Tesla. We also got some profits on Salesforce. Wasn't the biggest profits on this one. Was only able to take a little bit of profits into the first move and then look for the extra, but we didn't get the extra. We got this one down there towards 189 76, and this one wasn't a bad one at all. This one looked like it was going to crack 190 and continued cracking down. So we could see this one fade off towards the close. I still like this one to kind of reject here, going back towards 193 and then just fail, come right back through this 190. So I'm going to keep this one on my radar. Salesforce here, but a really nice gain also on this trade, closer to 2%. Wasn't a big winner on this one, but another base hit. They all add up, right? Let's get to the action. Let's take a look at some other base hits that I was able to take. Another one, CrowdStrike. Not bad on this one, as this one was coming down here to begin the day. Was able to take some at the 125.06 for CrowdStrike, and that was right here towards the 125. And this one towards 127. And then you could see how this one came right back to the lows, bounced there. So we were looking for a little bit of a cut down, and then eventually getting the rest of the CrowdStrike out here at 126.77, still for the gain, right? And I think that that's the important thing. Taking the gains today, this one was closer towards a 3% gain here on CrowdStrike. Not mad at all. We did get stopped out in one, which was CNC. And if you guys can look, it actually recovered. It stopped me out at the 65.80s. It's right back up to 66.35s. We just technically be into the green. It was a small little cutout. I still like these healthcare plan names, so I'm going to keep watch to see what happens to these names tomorrow. We'll see if we get another lift in the healthcare plan, but I did get stopped out in CNC today, not all into the green. And like always, it's not always going to be perfect, but really nice trades here for these kind of tech trades, of course, on the Tesla and going to CRM and CrowdStrike, right? Those worked out for us over the weekend, Thursday to Monday. Now we'll see what happens. Do we get another turnaround, right? The Q's definitely hard bounce today. We'll look to see if this turns back around, but it's just been climbing and climbing right back up. And you guys can see that V shape here. Now we'll look to see if we reject here towards the close. We'll see what happens on these. I did get stopped out on the intraday action in AMD and NVIDIA. Was trying to get short these names, especially when it started taking down this kind of 274 spot. Got stopped out immediately on these names, and it wasn't the biggest stop. I usually stay tight really early on, look to expand that as I get further away into the rewards, but did get some stop outs in NVIDIA and stop out and an AMD. So these could turn back around to the downside, but I was trying to jump on them as they looked like they were starting to turn around. But these are the strongest names, right? Let's talk about the big boys, how they did today. You guys can take a look at Apple today. That actually was red, came back on some of it, but wasn't able to get back to the opening price. So going to keep watch what happens here towards the close. Do we get a move back to VWAP on Microsoft? Google overall, you can see how they're slightly above VWAP, but really not showing strength, even though the market is bouncing back. I mean, market bounced back, the Qs, the SPY bounced back. What held us up today? That's what we need to be asking ourselves, right? If it wasn't the technology trade, where was it, right? Well, we can talk a little bit about that and what we're seeing. Industrials bounce back on the day. We saw stocks like Deere bounce back today. Caterpillar bounce back today. How are those defensive names? Lockheed Martin, another move up here. Now to 498, and I'm still kicking myself, team. Oh, man, how did I miss this Lockheed Martin move? We were looking for the move to 500. We're almost there. That would have been a nice gain on this one. It would have been like about 5%, but it's a more expensive stock, right? 5% for this name is like 23 points, 24 points. We'll see what happens there in Lockheed Martin if this can keep going higher. But I definitely keep watch on other defensive names, especially the high cap names on the defensive area. You want to keep watch. RTX. I like you can look at different names here. You got NOC, right? NOC. You can look for it to start getting moved. I know this one's off the bottom. This one might get started going back through this gap zone. So maybe we could just fill this gap. This doesn't look too bad just for a little gap fill back here towards 487. We'll see what happens there on NOC and some of these defensive stocks. Consumer cyclical is bouncing back today. Also, of course, you got department stores in there. You got stores like Macy's that had a decent day. Department stores definitely bouncing back today. Macy's having a decent up day. JWN having a decent up day. So we're going to keep watching these stocks. We'll see what happens on some of these like JWN. Will this actually make a move back? I don't trust these department stores at all, especially in this environment. If we're going into a recession, not where I want to be. But footwear and accessories bouncing back on the day. Nike having another decent day after pullback day last time. We'll see what happens to these stocks. Deck has been the absolute best performer in the footwear and accessories space. And guess what? Another high there for Deck. Every time it's pulling back to this 9 EMA, seems to kind of be making sense and holding on. How's the Crocs? Look at that. Bounce right back up. Where's Jay when you need him? There you go, Jay. I see you out there, Jay. Don't worry. Crocs ran too, baby. We'll keep an eye out on these. Of course, looking at Lulu, right? Lulu, will this one come back into the gap zone, or will this one go higher through that 370? We'll have to watch what happens to these. But definitely, Crocs, not looking too bad. It was looking bad here when it was going to crack the 120s. Now it's turned back around. Let's just see it. I'd put it on the weekly to try to help myself out, right? To get around some of this kind of daily volume. Can we get back there through the 131 and get a little bit higher for the Crocs? Shoes with holes, man. They just keep moving higher. It don't matter. All right, let's keep going. Let's get into a different area. Basic materials having a decent bounce today, and definitely a nice little push on the day. You guys can see it here. Nice little bounce after a little bit of some bottoming action last week. We did see other stocks strong, of course, but let's get into some of these agricultural inputs. MOS is an area that bounced back after really taking a hit on Thursday. We'll keep watch to see if these actually get moving. Nothing that I see like having the day 2 or day 3 move. So nothing strength that I'm seeing really here at basic materials. It's just a bounce back day. Aluminum bounce back day. Steel bounce back day. Is this a strong day for steel? Yes, but nothing that I'm like just jumping out of my shoes like, oh, I need to jump into this opportunity. A lot of bounce back on these basic materials. We'll see if these can go higher. Silver is just stair-stepping its way. So one area that we're looking at is for maybe a gold play to get that kind of same outlook, right? So stair-step, pullback outlook. So it looks like we're pulling back right now on gold. I'm looking for some of these plays to pull back and then maybe looking to jump on the momentum, especially if we're going to get some downside action. But you got to watch out with basic materials. Energy not having a bad day today, trying to get a little bit of a bounce back after the recent OPEC jump start. And I'm going to call it a jump start because it definitely got it jump started after it was starting to fall off the tape. And you can see today XOM pulling back a little bit. Oxy was one that I was looking at. I actually took a day trade on this one and lost on that first little cut through the 63.77s. It looked good here on the hourly outlook to start making its way back, but I didn't take it for the long. I've just watched this one. We'll see what happens with these oil plays. Will this catch the lift, right? I'm keeping a watch on this. This is a nice little pullback to 9 EMA. If it can get slightly above here and really start pushing back into the 65s, you won't be looking too bad there in Oxy. But it's just something for me to watch right now. Chevron could still pull back to the 9 EMA, close some of this gap first before it takes the next leg up. So something to keep a watch out on this is also XLE. What will happen to this? Will we cut into the gap zone, cut down into the 84.50s, or will we just make our way back up through the 87s? Something definitely to watch if you're an oil trader. We'll see what happens on these names. EKS, what's going on? Interesting. A day trader not interested in the bounce back. 2 to 4% gains are fine for day traders. Are they looking for more? Who knows? I mean, it's tough. It just depends, EKS. Like, some people really do look for more than 2 or 4% gains. Some people are actually looking for on every trade like a 10% gain. Is that going to happen? Hey, to each his own, right? To me, 2 or 4% gains, I will take those all day as long as you understand your risk, right? Like I always talk about, it's all about risk preservation first. And so definitely something to focus on. We'll see what happens to these if we do get the next step up through 87 or a cut down in some of these energy names. All right, getting out of energy technology today, up 0.73, and then just keeping the ride going. I mean, yeah, we've pulled back, but overall, the sector still looks good here, and it could push right back up, right? What pushed well today? Well, solar's fought a bounce there. We've been looking at First Solar thinking, is it ever going to break down? And there you go, another reversal kind of off this 200 level. Been watching this 200 level for a while now, and it just doesn't seem like First Solar wants to go away and could take that next step to the next level. We'll see what happens here with First Solar and some of these other ones like SEDG, EMPH. They're starting to make a way back. I would definitely look for First Solar to lead, really make that breakout through 220 if you're looking at like an EMPH. But hey, to each his own. We'll find out what happens here. All right, let's keep going. Let's take a look at some other stocks on the day. We're going to take a look at the top leading stocks in the S&P 500 today. Of course, you guys can always follow along with these on Start Swing Trading. Let's take a look. Top stocks on the day. Of course, I'm just going to do this by net change, and let's do it from the open, right? Because that's what really matters to me. It's not necessarily just the net change, but the net change from the open. So let's get into some of these names. Got it all set up here. Let's go right into the top stocks in the S500 today. First one up, in Body Works. Interesting to see this one. I haven't seen this one move since really it kind of split, right? I mean, this one now split away. It used to be, I think, was it Lucky Brand? What was it? I forgot what it was together. But of course, this one used to be together with Victoria's Secret, right? We'll see what happens to these Bath and Body Works, getting a little bit of a bounce. But I don't know, man. I have to have the candle indicator, and I haven't bought in candles in a little while. The wife hasn't I haven't seen the Bath and Body Works hit the account in a little while. You can see how we kind of popped out of this, then came right back into the levels, bouncing off that 35. That's going to be vital to get back up through kind of like the 40 level. If we can't get through the 40s, this could come right back to the 35s. This one's up like about 5% on the day. Then you got Schwab bouncing back. This is an important stock bouncing back as we're starting to see it get back towards 52. Why is it important? Because it's just leaking, and people cannot understand this story. So if this could stop the leak, well, there you go. You could start seeing the market ride a little bit higher. And one area that we're definitely keeping an eye out is, of course, the technology names. Today, Lam Research bouncing back after having a tough start of the day and now back towards 510. This gives us a strength in the semiconductor area as you're seeing this bounce back and shake off some of the China concerns. AMD bouncing back to 95.59 today. Really strong move there. And then Ralph Lauren getting a little bit of a bounce back in retail. I haven't seen Ralph Lauren in a while, but you can see here on the weekly, it's just slowly working its way, trying to get back through the prior 2 weeks high, 118.41, 118.17. Let's see if we can get back into there and get towards the 120 for the week. All right, that's going to do it for our top 5 there from the S&P 500 today. Let's get into some other stocks, of course. We've taken a look at technology. We've taken a look at some energy stocks. Let's go to financial services as we're taking a look today to see what happened with these stocks. Looks like JPM, not a bad day overall, just going sideways, climbing a little bit of the wall to worry. And if you look at the KRE, right, for your regional banks, what is going on here? Well, take a look at the daily chart. Doesn't look too bad there as you're seeing what? You're seeing it kind of bottom around these levels, right? And I think that now you're at the point where, yes, we're really starting to look to see if we're going to get that next worry, or are we going to break up to the upside? And it could very much be that if there is no more worries, that we could break to the upside. So really, I'm going to be drawing some thicker lines here, keeping a close eye to see if we can get the KRE back through the 44 mark and continuing higher. Something to definitely watch on this KRE and the banking regional situation overall, right? We'll see what happens to these. Like always, it's kind of hard to see what really is going to happen when we don't see underneath the hood. I know that FRC pulled their kind of dividends. That doesn't look good, but it's still closing green on the day. To me, if this was down there towards like $7 or $5, I'd feel a lot more concerned about the day. All right, catching up with the chat. What's going on out there? Riot squeezing DVN at 44 would have been nice. Florida mentioning out there. Smoked tuna. Gregory wanders around. We'll take a look at Bank of America. I got you. We'll wander around in the financials. Got no problem with that. KRE, big put seller, 1500, 2024, 50s for 940. Bullish type of trade. We'll see. I mean, if they could really turn this around, yeah, it could go bullish, but it's a tough sector to be in, right? I mean, I definitely don't want to be regionals. Maybe the bigger banks. The regionals scare the living hell out of me. All right, let's take a look. What other ones are being mentioned in the chat? We wanted to take a look at Bank of America, right? Well, Bank of America has been kind of coming towards this kind of 27 level or slightly below it. You could do 2750, I have 2760s here. And it just seems like we're just kind of fighting in this kind of longer period pattern too. We're in the same kind of boat, just sideways. And what is this? Consolidation after a hard down move. Not what you want to see if you really think these banks are coming back, right? If these banks are really coming back, a lot of times when we get hard up moves, what do we get? Hard pullbacks, right? Well, in this case, we get a hard down move. We want to see this get right back up there to 33s. If it does get back there to 33s, all the worries are away. But if we keep rejecting and holding towards the bottom of the range, yeah, support until it isn't. And if this 27 gives and we're down there towards 26, how's this going to be really looking? It's going to be looking pretty bearish here on Bank of America. So this is why I'm trying to stay away from this financial trade. Yes, I could call shots. I could say JPM's going right back up. I could say Bank of America is going back towards 34. But would that be more of a gambling situation? Yes, I feel like that's high risk and high reward. Not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for low risk, high reward type of trades. And yes, you could say, well, maybe if you hold off that 2764. But the truth is, we don't know when the next tape bomb is going to hit. And what if one of these banks go into a situation where the news catalyst is coming out after hours or pre-market or even worse in the weekend, and you come back and you just get wrecked? That's why I'm staying out of these trades. Definitely going to avoid them like the plague. And of course, going to stay away from them. Can look at some other trades. Can look at oil trades. Can look at technology trades, industrial plays. There's so many other plays, defensive plays. There's plenty of plays out there to play. And the banks might not be the best opportunity. All right, catching up with you guys out there. Carly, how we doing? Crow, I'm out of chips. Ate the whole damn bag. That's what I'm talking about. Crow, you get them chips, bro. That's the Doritos. What's your favorite one? It's all about that AI stocks. And I got you, Gregory. You know, I've been holding at 29 for a month or so since the big drop. And I can't blame you, Gregory, for holding this and trying to take a shot, right? My biggest thing is that if we were really going to see this bank worry shore up, these banks should start kind of making their way higher, right? Stair-stepping their way back. What we call climbing the wall of worry. Same thing that you're seeing in the Qs, right? The Qs, this is climbing the wall of worry. This move is climbing the wall of worry. You look at the banks, they don't look like they're climbing the wall of worry. They look like they're stair-stepping down. And that's a scary sign. And that's just pure technicals. I'm not talking about the story. I'm not talking about no fear. I'm talking about purely what I see on the charts. And on the charts, they don't look the best. Tostitos with the ranch dip. I need a little queso on that. A little queso on those Tostitos. I'm with you, Crow. Can't blame you. Raz, didn't the banks report somewhat badly last quarter, but that didn't affect them much? Yes. Well, a lot of the times, what do we see? So I can show you on Goldman Sachs. A lot of times what we see is this run prior to earnings. So this stock did this run prior to earnings. Then right after earnings was right here at the top. It came right back down and they rebought it up. Well, are they going to rebuy Goldman Sachs and run this into the earnings? This is a type of stock that I'd keep an eye out for. Because if I see this stock right back up through 330s and pushing the 340s, well, yeah, they could just buy this back up and assure us that, yeah, we're making our way back. But this is something that I'm going to keep an eye on, right? We'll see if Goldman Sachs makes that move. You see how this one's not at the support, but closer towards the resistance in this case, in this pattern? I think that that's an important outlook to catch, right? The bigger banks are near the support. This is kind of near the resistance. And that's an important thing to catch as we watch this come back. Will we get through the 330s? I'll even set an alert here to kind of watch this on live trading, especially tomorrow. If we can break through that 330, we could just start to run on the banks. We run on the banks, the tech trade will turn right back and probably just buy the dip and just ripping, just bull market mentality, right? The Qs are in a bull market. Now the only question is, will the SPY play catch up and get up there to the 420s, right? We get up to the 420s, and that could very much happen if, let's say, the banking situation shores up. We get good earnings from the banks. They start ripping higher. Who knows what could be into this earnings season? Of course, earnings season really kicking off a little bit later this week. And there's some names that will be reported tonight. A cannabis name, Tilray. Wonder what you guys think about cannabis in the chat. This chat is pretty tough on cannabis, but we'll see what happens if Tilray can make a little move tonight. All right, getting out of this talk. So earnings do not matter. Yeah, of course, earnings. To tell you the truth, let's just be honest. Earnings only matter if it's that environment for it. What do I mean? That a lot of the times we say things like, this market is acting logical, or this market is moving with growth stocks, or moving with value names, right? The truth is, it's always about the current environment. Stocks move in rational moves, then they move in exuberance, then they move in irrational moves that you'll see, and illogical moves that you'll be like, what is going on? How's this stock continue going higher? Or how's it continue going lower? Was it the earnings? The truth is, you got to ask yourself the current environment. And are we in that environment where we could see some earnings surprise if they even meet the bar, or for some reason raise that bar? That's something to definitely keep an eye out for. All right, let's keep taking a look. We'll see what else is going on. I like cannabis, but not as an investment. Too much risk. Hey, can't blame you there, Hammer. All right, small caps, always a party. Yeah, the crow always knows the party. That's for sure. All right, let's keep going. Let's take a look at some other trades. Let's get back to the action and see what other stocks are moving today. Let's actually go to what got hit today a little bit. Some healthcare names taking a little bit of a pullback action here. Of course, these have been really strong, so it's nothing wrong to see a little bit of some pullback in this area. Diagnostics and research is an area that I'm going to be watching to see if this gets hot in the next couple of weeks. It's pulled back. I know that the drug manufacturers, the big boys, those are pulling back after having a really hot week. So I'm looking for some that are going to play a little bit of catch up. So in diagnostics and research, we can take a look to see if some of these will start getting the move to the upside. I'd keep with kind of the bigger names, DHR, to see if this starts pushing a little bit higher. Danaher Corp, you can take a look at TMO, Thermo Fisher. Will this kind of move a little higher? I like the 570 hold here, but I'm going to keep watch. This is not something that I'm saying that I'm taking trades right now. Like always, sometimes I'm just trying to think about what could potentially come. I talked about the healthcare trade just about like 2 weeks ago and started looking at the major drug manufacturers. Those have gone. So I'm looking to see if we're going to see a little bit of some lagging action happen in some of these healthcare names. Of course, you guys know the healthcare plans are definitely on my radar. They're pulling back today a little bit. I'm going to look for maybe a day 2 pullback, a day 3 pullback, but then definitely going to look to try to attack some of these healthcare plays. We'll see what happens, of course, later in the week. Some of the earning stocks, you guys definitely watch out. we'll see. I mean, there's some decent stocks going to report. Delta earnings will also be coming out later this week, and I'm excited to find out what's going on in the airlines, as I've been keeping my close eye on the industrial trade to see if I want to get back into like a name like American Airlines. But DAL is going to be what it's all about right now. A little part of me feels like taking a shot on American off of this kind of 1350. But I'm hoping that for some reason we can get a like unexpected down cut there in Delta, get a little bit of a down cut on American Airlines, buy it, and then look to see if it could have some decent earnings, or if UAL, that I know likes to report a little earlier, can give us a nice little outlook after turning around their outlook in the first quarter. We'll see what happens to these airlines. All right, let's keep going. We can take a look at some other industrial trades. Those are in the industrial trade, and that didn't do bad today. The airlines. I'm seeing someone talk about Airbnb. New Den, I got you, man. One thing that I would say about Airbnb is I'm not going to make too many comments today, but I will let you know. I talked about it at the beginning part of the show. I am talking to Edwin Dorsey on Wednesday. We'll talk about the short report that, of course, the Bear Cave put out on Airbnb, and that led to some of the action on Thursday, definitely taking a hit. Today, bouncing back a little bit, back towards the 112.44s. Really, this is an area that I've been looking for this stock to get back above the 120 levels. We got back above the 120s. We even pulled back to those levels, and I still didn't take the trade. So this is why I'm keeping a close eye on Airbnb to see if we could recover, get back up here. Really, I see the 110 acting as support right now, but the only question is, how long will that last, right? That's something to definitely keep an eye out for. Do I like Airbnb long-term? Yes, long-term I do. The only question is, how do we time it on a swing trade is the hard part here for Airbnb. We'll see what happens there. All right, getting out of Airbnb, UNH Friday, definitely going to be an important report to definitely catch. Of course, that could continue the healthcare run. And I like how this one went sideways today versus kind of completely breaking down. That just goes to show you how strong this healthcare plan move was. Cigna's also one that I've been keeping an eye out for. This one had a recent run that was pretty significant, and it was looking really good. So now that we've pulled back about 50% of the recent move, right? You can see here, that was kind of the break that we did, 61.8, nice little retracement. Will we come back through the 268? We'll keep this on watch for Cigna. All right, getting out of some of these healthcare names. Time to catch up what you guys are talking about in the chat. Let's do a little bit of some ticker time. Then I'll get through my last little headlines to get through. And of course, maybe take some trades right now. Let's take a peek into the Qs. Let's see how we're doing. Are we finally turning around? No, it seems like we're holding up right now. At least you guys can draw this kind of trend line outlook and just be like, well, to tell you the truth, unless this breaks, we're climbing that wall of worry right back up here in the Qs. So we'll see if we ever get back down below the 314 level. But it's just been a climbing the worry right back, as you did get a tech pullback, and now you're right back at the top of the range. Apple was looking weak. Well, there you see it now, back towards above the VWAP and starting to hold some of the reversal action. We'll look to see what happens to these major cap names. Microsoft tried to make it back towards 289.75, but it was an ugly start of the day. There's a big wash there out the gates and then started coming back. So now's the only question, is this a trap to the upside or a trap in creating more resistance as it recently cut through the support? Man, they really crushed Stocks S since pre-market. Yes, I actually went after Stocks S today, team, at the kind of the 19 break. Was looking for this to kind of hold on, eventually letting it go, of course. Like always, got to know your risk, because if you stick into a trade, that's easily how you just get a bag, right? We got to know when we're going to get out. I took a hit on the day trading action on Stocks S, but you can see it. It was a big pullback. This is not common to see, right? What did you see here? 2 days pattern, breaks to the upside, then right out the gates, just flush down. Not common to see that type of move. So definitely something we'll keep an eye out for here in this Stocks S style trade. Of course, this is leverage, so just be careful. This is always going to show some extremeness, right? Nvidia is really strong on the day compared to some of these other big cap names. Those definitely took a hit. Meta's down still too, was able to bounce back some of it. But really the surprise on the day was all about Micron, right? Micron was definitely one of the most important ones to take a look at. Because why? Because this one definitely got the lift with the Samsung mentioned that they was going to cut its memory chip output. And I was looking to see if this was going to flip at some point during the day. But really, it was a hanging on type of trade where it just kind of just went green right out the gates and just stayed green, stayed green, stayed green. Never really wanted to come back to opening price. And that just goes to show you that, hey, if Micron's going to make that move up and actually push through to 64, we could actually start seeing these tech names just reverse right back up. So with that Micron trade, I would be looking at like a Marvell technology to start working its way. And we'll see if this actually works its way back it was last week. We'll see what happens here on MRVL, Marvell Technology, and of course, that trade that we were looking at with Micron. All right, catching up with the chat. What are you guys looking at here? PXD, of course, that had the news with Exxon Mobil, has been pulling back to these levels. I've been looking for a pullback to 217. 217, I'm willing to take a shot. We'll see if we get that pullback to those levels and then watch for this to make a 10-point move back up to that pre-market spot. Well, we'll see what happens to these. All right, pins, flag. Let's take a look there. Interest here. All right, let's go to the daily chart. Daily chart has it trying to push right back up to the upside. Let's go to the weekly, see what we're seeing here. Looks like we're just kind of like stair-stepping our way back here, but definitely running into resistance. Where we're running into resistance, it seems like around this 28. We've had a couple of times where we cracked above 28, but we're definitely fighting in this area. Seems to me like there's definitely some resistance, some sellers that come in every time we've been cutting through 28s. So let's see if we can get back through 28s and actually start closing on a daily basis above that level. Really like this hold of 2750 today. Would now just look to see if it takes the next level to the upside. Getting an alert from a stock here, EXR, extra space storage. This is something that I've been looking at as I've been seeing public storage take a lift. Was thinking about taking a shot here on extra space storage as I see a big amount of weekly volume come in last week. Now it's starting to take a little bit of a lift. This one doesn't look bad at all here. Going to keep an eye out on extra space storage, but nice little uplift here today. I'm around the kind of 62 to the 64 spot. So going to go ahead and put an alert on this one at the 163, but definitely you can also watch for like PSA and Cube to see if those can go higher. And look at Cube right now, starting to show a little bit of strength. And this is also a chart that we're keeping an eye on. And this is the storage space that we're looking at. PSA, Cube, EXR, definitely keep your eyes on these. We'll see if these can actually get that next step up. Extra space storage. Riot being mentioned in the chat. Let's go to Riot here. Of course, Riot is moving with the Bitcoin names. Those Bitcoin names keep going higher, and that's because Bitcoin's going higher. And of course, the Q's recovery. Well, it's going higher there. If tech ever turns around nasty, that's one thing that you need to keep an eye out for. Will Bitcoin turn around and come right back down? We know that it's been highly correlated with the NASDAQ. Now the only question is, will that separation happen because of the financial situation? It could happen where Bitcoin continues to go and the Qs turn around. But right now, we'll see what happens. Big turnaround for the Qs, big turnaround for Bitcoin. And Bitcoin stocks going higher here. So if you're wondering why these stocks are making a lift, that's just Bitcoin going higher. And that's definitely affecting it. Look at MSTR back up here towards 309.40. Will coin get the lift off of this? You see it trying to push here towards the 65.35. We'll see if this can actually get a move going here in coin. I know I stay away from these cryptocurrency type of plays, especially the ones that are tied with kind of more the mining outlook. But you can definitely see them getting stronger and a lot of these Bitcoin names bouncing back. How's that SI? SI is down to 140. Ooh, we'll see what happens to it. All right, let's keep going, catching up with the chat. What's going on out there? Did I miss AI? No, you didn't, Hunt Matt. Let's get into it. Let's take a look at AI. AI is pulled back to that 2028 multiple times, right? We've been down here pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4 times. If we come back through cut through 20s, yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking at this one as it could come right back down towards $12. But we got to make our way back through 25 if we really want to see seeing an uplift. Look at the weekly outlook. Look how you got this kind of really bearish week last week. We need to see if we can start working our way and climbing some of this wall right back, right? I don't think it's going to be an immediate move. So that's one thing that we'll keep watch, right? We'll just kind of just stair step its way here on AI. GFAI, let's go to some of these other ones. I've been taking a look at these. This is one's interesting off of the hourly level. I really like how it's kind of bottoming around the 1536 right now. It's trying to just stair step its way up versus just elevator moves. What do I mean by that? Is you see it kind of make a big move up and then do kind of a little bit of a flagging pattern, right? And so you get this flag, you get the next step up, right? Now you're getting another move up a little bit higher here. And if you can see here, we're kind of getting more kind of like, let's say an ascending triangle here that eventually will get built. You could draw an uptrend here also and just kind of make this kind of more of a pennant outlook. You can use this kind of line here to kind of make it more of a pennant, but it's continuing the pattern and stair stepping its way higher. I like this stock, at least technically wise, doesn't look bad. We'll see what else is going on with some of these AI plays. AI is pretty tamed right now. Don't expect much, says Dan O. Hey, can't blame you. Kind of surprised my XLV didn't move today. I'll take a look at that, Christopher. The big thing there, I think, is just kind of keeping an eye out that there was a little bit of a mixed bag in health today. That's something to keep watch. All right, might not be a bad short into the end of the day. They really made me work for my money today, though, staying out. I hear you, Walter. I hear you. I did give up some of my gains with that AMD and NVIDIA kind of outlook, and now we're really starting to get that little bit of a turnaround here. Do I want to take some shots towards the close here with the Qs? That's where it gets really difficult. The big thing for me is the financial game and not understanding what's going to happen there. Because if this goes higher, I really do think the tech trade can go higher. So I could take some swings on today. Of course, the big thing for us is going to be keeping an eye out to see what happens with CPI and PPI later in the week, right? That's going to be, of course, Wednesday, Thursday. So is today the day to take that shot? I don't know. And that's where it gets a little bit difficult, right? Because when you're seeing the tech trade come back like it is, do we go shorting tech today? It's hard, right? I mean, this looks strong. This doesn't look weak on the daily. So with that being said, if it was closer towards the support, I would take my shots to the south side. But instead, it looks like we could come back to the and actually push a little bit higher here. So it's going to be very difficult for me to open some positions today. I'm trying to take a look at what makes sense, but really, it just seems to me like there's a lot of stocks here that could move higher and could move lower, and that's just too uncertain. There's no edge for me that I feel like I have right now on these charts. Oil names like Oxy seemed interesting to me earlier on the day. Now at 64, this seems a little bit far for me to go ahead and try to go after because we could get just a pullback tomorrow towards like 63.50s, and then it gets stopped out on a name like this. We'll see if these oil stocks actually start push. This one looks a little bit better. Why? Because you at least came down into the gap zone. You're kind of like holding the gap zone. So at least you know you're out here on the downside, which would be a move towards like 113.60s on Exxon Mobil. But that's if you're expecting oil to keep going higher. And I have been focusing on WTI to see what happens there. I did see it get into the 70s today. It was like at 79. It's still in 79 right now. It's just kind of playing with it. Is it going to make a turnaround and come right back down? Or is it going to get right back into the 80s and maybe make a move to 90? So that's what I think we got to keep our eyes out for on the oil play. You can see today, I'm definitely more in a look and see. Even though early on in the day, I was like, money, 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 money. Well, I definitely got a little bit calmer as the day went by, was able to take those trades off, take the gains, and now reassess. in assessment, I notice how closer we are to actually seeing tech go higher, not the turnaround. So yes, it could happen, but I feel like we're a little bit early to the boat here. We need to see what happens with CPI, PPI, and to see if the financials come back into focus. All right, catching up with the chat out there. How we doing? Blessings to you, Rich. It's good to have you in the chat, man. Always good to see you. Hammer says it's uncorrelating from the NASDAQ and acting more like gold for the digital age. Hammer, I wish that was true, that really you were seeing an uncorrelation from the NASDAQ and that it was going to act like gold should, which is like an inflation hedge. But the truth is, I really don't believe that, because the big money, I think, is already in Bitcoin. And what happens there is that when big money's in it, it's also big money's in the Qs and the NASDAQ, right? Little part of me thinks that, yes, there was some money that came in it with this banking situation, but it wasn't that much to kind of relift Bitcoin run. I know that Bitcoin's been going higher, but I'm still in the camp that we're in winter. And I think that we could see a hard downturn eventually come. So we'll see what happens there in Bitcoin overall and the cryptocurrency stocks. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what else is out there. Don't chase it here. Definitely, I would not chase it here. That's just asking. How's X, says Daniel. Let's take a look at X. I talked about it with steel a little bit earlier. It's starting to make its way back, but it isn't the biggest day, right? I mean, it's a little bit of a bounce back off the bottom. It's a nice, not a bad day. I mean, X makes like 2%, 3% moves all the time. The big thing I think for me in X is just more looking around here and being like, all right, well, really, I only want to get this going here if we're going to get through this kind of 2650s. That's the truth. If we can get back through this 2650s, then this chart looks like it can actually start making its move back up. But if not, if we can't get back through the 2650s, look at the weekly. The weekly is actually on a bearish look, right? Like this looks ugly here, team. It's on a little rectangle, but doesn't look strong there and needs to turn around. So instead of me jumping in way too early, then just seeing this cut down through 24, I want to see this actually get to 2650s. If we get to 2650s, you can shake this little area and actually get to 27, 21 and start to push back towards 30. But I need to see that first start to happen if I'm thinking that we're going to get a push. Also, this is at the top of the kind of the Bollinger Band move for right now. So I'm keeping a close eye on the daily. Daily is looking like it's trying to push a little bit higher back towards 27, but needs to actually get moving before I jump too much. Nucor, same thing, 155, right? You started making a move last week. You turned right back around. Cleveland Cliff, similar charts. You see how they're very similar? We need to keep an eye out on these charts to see if they change. But right now, they're on the decline and the pullback here for Steel Dynamics, Cleveland Cliff, Nucor, and X. Thanks, team. I'm in AI long. Hey, wish you the best on that AI long. It's been a tough trade, and always just know you're out. That's what matters the most. Tilray to buy Hexo in $250 deal. Bloomberg says Hexo, Tilray. Tilray. What is Tilray doing on that news? Is it pushing a little bit higher? I just got some volume there. You got about 1 million shares to start pushing that one. I'd maybe look at Hexo. Hexo is probably the one moving off of this one, and you see it moving right there. Nice little pullback here. Man, this is a cheaper name. Oh, man. A little part of me feels like going after it, team, but oh, this one's a tough one. Tough one here. Hexo with some announcements. The only big thing here is I don't know the price. I don't know any information more than what you guys are putting. So that's why I'm staying a little bit off this one. I see you guys mentioning that in the chat there. Appreciate you coming in with the news because you could see how that was an opportunity there, right? Even off the kind of, we were there like the 163. It's already made a little bit of an 8% move towards 176. If I would have taken a shot there, it would have been like 165 off like 150. Would have been a 9% shot, but for a move back up there towards the $2 spot. $2 spot's about a 20% move higher. It's about 2-for-1 trade. Not the biggest trade either, 2 for 1. I like 3 for 1 or 4 for 1, but you guys see it here. Hexo is getting that move. And let me see if we got that into the Benzinga Pro already with Hexo here. And that mention. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Looks like Tilray will advance plans to acquire the company in a $250 million deal here. So here you guys have it. Hexo shares trading higher following that report. Of course, got that from the Benzinga Pro. Will this get to the $2 spot? Something to keep an eye out for. And it looked interesting. I just didn't have too much of the news there. So we'll see what happens. All right, market on the close imbalance, 950 million to the buy side. We'll see what happens. Don't like Hexo's product, Money Mitch, says the Crow. We'll see. I mean, one thing I'd say is, hey, it is starting to get the little uplift here. We'll look to see if this gets there to $2 tomorrow and see if it comes pushing higher. Resistance right above it towards 180s. So that's where it kind of can clear some space. And then if you get through the $2 spot, I could see it kind of getting back into this gap, 217, 225, the next spots for Hexo. It's 3:54. Man, I've done already an hour of session here. Man, it's been a good one, team. I hope that you guys go ahead and kind of keep this going here on Start Swing Trading. If you guys know some swing traders you guys want to bring on right here, reach out to me. Like always, you guys can reach out to me at MoneyMitchBZ or Mitch@Benzinga.com. Let me know who you guys want on. And if you guys want to include a Twitter link or whatever you guys want to do so that I can check them out, by all means, reach out to me. I'm trying to bring on some new traders. So, of course, if you guys know some out there, let me know what you guys want to see. Definitely smash that like button. Let's keep going to some other action. I don't like any of these guys. Give it back to the streets. The American dream, says Walter. I agree with you, Walter, but we're going to need some help on the fiscal side if we're going to get that action to happen. Samantha, it's good to see you guys. Richard, always good to have you guys. Definitely. I'm glad you guys appreciate this show. And like always, I'm going to always try to stay transparent. Today, I'm not even taking some trades. I just feel like a little bit of uncertainty here towards the close. I feel like tech could actually keep climbing this wall of worry. And so with that being said, I did take some shots a little bit earlier, but now towards the end of the day, area to take my shots and a really strong stock. Nah, I'm not going to do that. When daily charts look like they're weak and then the intraday action is weak, then I could go after it, right? But this is kind of like a chart that's really strong on the daily, having really strong intraday outlook. Do I want to really be shorting NVIDIA? Nah, not anymore, team. This looks way too strong of a day. And could this just come right back to 272? Yes, it could. But it could also be tomorrow at 277 and 280s. So I'm not taking my shot on that. We'll see what happens. All right, INTC. Let's take a look at some of that. INTC is starting to pull back here. This is one that I was thinking about kind of shorting back towards a 200-day moving average, which was the 30-50 move, but not the strongest stock and also not the sexiest. It's just kind of really slow mover. And if a stock's going to move only about a point for me, it's not going to be the most and the fastest move here in Intel. All right, seeing net short positions on ES highest since 2011. That's interesting. Appreciate you, Dano, giving me a little love. Definitely makes tonight a wonderful thing. JRP, we'll see what happens with the market. Yes, get rid of the training bras. Trade with Mitch. Captain, take it easy. Take it easy. All right, let's see what else is going on out there. CRM, the one that I was looking to kind of keep going after. Look at the close here. Now, that one was one that maybe we could get back into. Didn't really have a strong day, but now really fading off. CrowdStrike, maybe this one? Nope, that one actually looks strong here. What about the Tesla Dragon? I ain't going to get in front of that. Look how this move was a really nice move. And it comes all the way back. That's how Tesla can do it to you, team. I really like the move that we had earlier today, but really didn't like this turnaround. And can we just turn back from the 185? Yeah, we could, but that's asking and that's pushing. Would keep it really tight if I did take that type of trade. But instead, I'm just going to be on the lookout to see what happens later on this week to take some more swings, right? Can't always take 30 swings overnight. Got to always focus on what? Risk preservation. Right now, situation with the banks is what I'm watching. What's going to happen? If the banks start going higher here, I can play tech higher. If the banks start coming down, I can play tech lower. That's what I'm going to be watching for. Like always, you guys can keep up with all the action right here on, of course, Benzinga, of course. Hit that subscribe button down below. Like always, you guys can keep growing your skills. If you guys like the technical outlook that I do here on this show, I want you guys to check out the book club. That's where we're going into candlesticks right now. We're talking Japanese candlestick techniques right now, charting techniques. So if you guys want to be learning how to be best using candles in your technical outlook, definitely join up the book club. I'm going to throw in the link right now, and we're going to start wrapping it up. We'll take a couple more stocks from the chat, but it's about 1 minute left here, so maybe about 1 or 2 stocks. And like always, you guys can definitely join the book club if you guys want to up your technical skills. All right, last look here to see if there's anything else. Is there any Fed speakers tonight? I do not think so, Ben. I think I would have heard about it, but I do not think so right now, Ben. Like always, you can check that on Benzinga Pro. We actually have those on our calendar widget. So if I looked at my calendar right now, I'd go right now to the economics tab, and I'd go right there. I'd say today, boom, boom, see if there's anything that shows up for me in the afternoon. And you can see here, we do have some afternoon talk, but nothing in the United States. So no, you won't be seeing a Fed talk here. Looks like there's a little bit of some quiet period, and hopefully that quiet period can stay that way, right? The Fed talk just sometimes just drives me mad. We'll keep watch to see what happens in the banking situation. This is what I think is definitely just important. What happens to these banks? Do we rip higher? Do we rip lower? That's what's going to determine for me what happens in the SPY. And the SPY actually looks positive right now. It looks like it's ready to go and just keep pushing higher. With that being said, that's another reason why I'm not short overnight. The market looks like it wants to push. Why would I be short? Even though I was able to make some money, got to always keep the short term, medium term, and long term into play up here. We'll see you guys next time. Like always, hit the like on the way out and keep battling out there. It's not just going to be one way to find that green.